Well, we approached the emergency services in Leicestershire, first of all to review our emergency response plan, which they did, and then we decided to develop that further and actually test the emergency response plan on site, and also to give the emergency services who aren't necessarily used to the turbine environment, to give them the chance to go into one of our turbines, familiarise themselves with the turbine, and to put together a video so they can train it out to other members of the emergency services. Not just anybody can turn up at a turbine and perform a rescue. They need to be specially trained, and they need to be aware of all the hazards that they might encounter and be able to deal with them and be equipped to deal with them.
The wind turbine is split into 3 distinct parts. You've got the tower, which goes from the ground straight up, the cell, which is the large body on top of the tower, and then the hub. Well, firstly, we've climbed up the ladder, which was a very physical challenge. It's 80 metres from bottom to top. All the blood drains out your arms. It's very, very difficult. There is a lift, but it's quite slow and you can only take 2 people up at a time. When you get up to the top, there's a lot of equipment that gets in your way. You've got to have carried your equipment up there, so the PPE for yourself and any rescue equipment or equipment to recover the body from there. It's a very physical challenge.
I went up to the midpoint, and within my area we had 4 firefighters and myself, plus an observer and a safety. And we were just on one of the little platforms, sort of a third of the way up, and it was still tight. Within the sort of platform I was on, I'd say probably it was 2 or 3 metres in diameter, so it's not. It's quite a tight space, and when you've got the casualty laying in the floor as well, you're quite often having to step over the casualty rather than actually be able to walk around them.
Really interesting. The space inside up on the top is a lot different to the space down below and on the floors in between. You go up, there's a lot of electrical equipment, there's a generator, still a lot of computer type stuff. And then the bit where the turbine is and where the sails are is a very small space. It's very difficult to squeeze into, and this is the area where our casualties had his accident. So we've had to squeeze into that area, rig up ropes to weight him into the main part and then to lower him down the tower. Really, really useful exercise, really testing some of the techniques that we use.
Yeah, it's exceptionally difficult to move around in there. There isn't much space. You've got to be incredibly careful where you're putting the feet, and particularly in the nacelle. And as you go out from the nacelle into the hub, there's fragile surfaces. And the temperature in there today, when we first went up, was exceedingly hot at the very top. We've opened some of the vents at the top and the temperature's cooled down a bit, but all the work that's been undertaken, because of its physical nature and it's an enclosed space, it's incredibly hot up there, and quite a almost hostile environment to work in, if you like.
If it was a real emergency, yeah, then we've got options. We can either cut through the hub and rescue them from there. We can take them down the ladder, or we can open the hatch and we can drop them out of the nacelle using a rescue line.
It's a very low-risk area, as long as you're trained to actually work in these environments. People sometimes look at them and think it's quite scary, these environments, but as long as we follow all the procedures laid down by the companies, they are relatively safe places to work. There are slips, there are trips, there are areas of difficult access that we need to get into, but with the right training and following the right procedures, they are relatively safe places to actually work.
Yeah, the thing that I'd really like to do before we finish is just pass on my thanks to Vattenfall for facilitating this exercise. Without your cooperation, it wouldn't have been possible. And also the other companies that have been here facilitating as well, Vestas, who've assisted us inside the turbine, and High-Tech as well, who've given us some valuable input into things that we can improve on. So all round, it's been an excellent day and we really appreciate it.